Let's now talk about the tackles. How do the tackles line up? All right. If you're a tackle on our defense, you take the player next to the nose guard and line up with your inside ear off his outside ear. You aim at his shoulder. All right? And this is the player you're going to focus on. You're going to be in a 4-point stance right next to the nose guard here. The nose guard is also in a 4-point stance, but you're going to aim at the outside shoulder of that individual. Do you see that? You're aiming right at his outside shoulder. Likewise over here, aiming right at his outside shoulder with your inside ear off his outside ear, just like that. Now look, you are not to focus on getting straight into the backfield, okay? We have a call to do that, but your primary focus is going to be on this player, on this guard, this offensive guard. And your focus is to control him. Control that offensive guard. He is your main focus. In particular, that outside shoulder is your focus. And your job really is several-fold. First, you need to protect the linebackers by denying that guard a free release to the second level. You see, a lot of plays, many offensive plays require that this guard come out here and block, this linebacker. Okay? If the play's going this direction, this guard is supposed to fire out and get that guy there, and then you'll get blocked by by the tackle here. Something like that. Your job is to keep that from happening. We need these linebackers free to flow to the football, to see and flow to the football, but you have to protect them from this blocker. And you do it by focusing on that shoulder. We'll get to more of that in a bit. So that's one of your responsibilities. Another one is to never get reached. You're to defend the B gap plus 3 yards. Now what does that mean? The B gap is right here. And right here. This is the A gap. And then the B gap coming out here. A and B gap. All right, I can write a little bit. This is the A gap. A or B. And then the B gap right there. Okay, you're to defend the B gap plus 3, and you're to never get reached. Now, what do we mean by getting reached? What we mean is that this guard is going to want to come over here and hook you. He's going to reach around and block you to the inside because the play is going into your direction to the outside. Maybe it's a sweep, maybe it's just an off-tackle play, what have you. Your job is to never get reached like that. Okay, you're to defend the area, that B gap plus 3 yards towards the outside. So as soon as you see that shoulder coming over to your outside shoulder, okay, you're to step further outside and go with that player moving out 3 yards and defending that area. Okay, the other thing to do is we're going to squeeze the trap, and we don't want you to over-penetrate into that backfield. We want you to follow the guard's shoulder and protect Nick from the double team. Okay, now what that means is that let's say we take this guard, if he's going to double down onto our nose guard here, okay, and he's going to let you shoot through here, okay, we don't want you just to come flying through here. You know why? Because maybe the tackle or maybe the guard is going to come over and block you, and we'll have a double team and a kick-out block. That's a good angle there if you get too far into the backfield. And then there's this big hole here for this back to just run right through there. Okay, and we don't want that to happen. So what we want you to do is to squeeze the trap down. If this guard comes at Nick and double teams, you're to read that shoulder. We're going to tell you how to lock up, and you're going to squeeze in there. You're not going to come way out here into the backfield. You're going to squeeze down and look to the inside from here. It's called a catapult move, and we'll teach that over here on the right side. Okay, if you see that the double team is coming down and that shoulder is going toward the inside, you're going to read that and catapult around and just kind of look in the inside here. You're going to squeeze this guard down and keep him from getting at Nick like that. Okay, so moving on. Another thing we want to do, your responsibility is to focus on these guards, but if these guards pull, another thing they can do is pull and say that they actually pull to the inside like this. You're to follow that shoulder and follow him to the football. Okay, if that shoulder pulls like that, you're to follow that shoulder and go right to the football. Follow the pullers. We don't want you to over penetrate. We want you, when he leaves, we don't want you to come over here. You follow him flat to the football. You go flat with him into the backfield. All right. Play with intensity and discipline. Take pride in how well you control this guy. Okay, you got to control this guy. That is the bottom line. Where that outside shoulder goes, that's where you go. All right, so when in doubt, just attack that shoulder and you'll be fine. When in doubt. Now, we're going to show you a lot of things in the next part. This is part 1. We have the tackles part 2 coming up. We're going to go over some drills and everything. But when in doubt, attack that shoulder and you should be okay. There's a lot more detail, but that's the general gist of it, okay? Let's move on. Oh, let's have a little bit more. There we go. I talked about that. Now, let's just talk quickly about technique. Then we'll get to the drills in the next portion. A little bit about technique. It's a little bit more than just attacking the shoulder. On the snap, we want you to take your outside foot and go forward just 6 inches. Just 6 inches forward. That's a power read step. All right, you're going to read what this shoulder is going to do. We don't want you taking this big, huge, long step and being out of position to respond to what the shoulder does. Okay, you're responding to this player. Once again, let me reiterate. Okay, what is your job? Your job is to control this guy. Is your job just to barge in here and try and sack the quarterback? No. There's a lot more to it than that. Okay, we don't want you just firing in. Okay, this is a real defense. This is a higher level defense than what you're used to when you were playing when you were 7 years old or something. All right, so we don't want you just firing in. You got to control this guy, and you control him, first of all, by taking a little 6-inch step with your outside foot going straight forward, reading that shoulder, and then responding. You attack the guard with your hands. With your hands. Now, what do we mean by that? What are you going to do with your hands? Well, you're going to take your inside hand. Let's go over here. You have another little hand here. Okay. And you're going to take your inside hand and shoot it up and grab a hold of the jersey where that guard's inside number is. And you're going to take your outside hand and strike his upper arm or his upper shoulder pad. So one hand is low on the inside number. The other hand, you're hitting hard on this upper shoulder pad, that shoulder you're attacking there. And with your inside hand grabbing, here we go, over here, grabbing his inside number, the outside hand higher on this shoulder, you're in position to now control him. If he wants to reach you and come over here and hook you like this, you can follow him and steer him with your 2 hands. Okay? If he instead wants to block down on Nick, you're in a position now to take your inside hand and pull and spin him around so that now you can spin and look into the backfield like that. So that's what we mean by locking up, and we're going to get to that more in part 2. If you need to watch this again, please do so. Also, look at part 2. We're going to go into the drills.